Hey man, pretty cool. We show up, right off the member guest vibe, trying to team this thing that we show up in the same t-shirt tonight.
Yeah,
We tell
that's
the people all the time that we don't talk about our picks beforehand. We also do not wardrobe script, before the show, but we're both wearing the black Tour Junkies t-shirt, which by the way, people should go buy. Pat, how many of those we
yeah.
got left?
Let me look over there. It looks like 7 or 8 or so.
7 or 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those should be flying off the shelves. These are comfy tees, man. They're super comfy. Um, so yeah, hey man, good to see you. Good to not see anyone else, but be talking to you in a one-way conversation for the CJ Cup 2020. You have stumbled upon potentially the Tour Junkies podcast. We're the best PGA Tour betting and DFS podcast on the streets. You know what I mean? There are many imposters. There are many who try.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most fail. We're the best.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Did you get a new chair?
I did get a new chair. I was wondering how long it was going to take for you to notice. I got a new chair, man.
Why didn't you tell me you got a new chair? Like, why don't I get a new chair? I want a new chair.
It's
with a
okay.
with
Well,
a
this isn't
back.
welfare. It's not a welfare system. Like, and everybody just doesn't get something because somebody else got it. This is not a socialist system so far. I think no. I have been sitting on for the entire 5 years we've been doing the show. I've been sitting on a wood chair with 3 throw pillows on top of the wood chair because I got that no acetol disease, and then one pillow in my lumbar because the frame of the chair was actually metal. So I've been sitting on that, and I finally said no, I can't do this anymore. So I bought it's just a gamer's chair. That's all it is. It's nothing fancy. It's not a lazy boy or anything. It's just a gamer's chair. Got some padding, and I like it. So
it's a good looking, from what I can tell, seems comfortable.
I mean, it's just a black chair, Pat. It's just a regular, maybe.
It just looks like it has some good support around it, like which I need for my back.
Well, yeah. Maybe some people watching live on YouTube can super chat for Pat to get a chair. You can super chat to get Pat a chair or whatever. All right, we're coming off the member guest. We're gonna recap the member guest at the end of the show because let me tell you how this would go. If we started the show off recapping the member guest, we would get what would be the over under, Pat? 7, maybe. We would get 7 DMs / emails / comments on social media from some person going, I don't even care about your stupid memory guess. Like, nobody cares. Get to the picks sooner, guys. God, unsubscribe. We would get that.
Yeah. So we would certainly get that. That is true.
So we can't do that. We have some stories. We have some stories from the member. I mean, there was some weird stuff that happened at the member guest. All of it had everything to do with Pat. So I can't wait to talk about it. Also, Pat's viral video, which is still super hot in the streets on Instagram. We are now, let's see, 24, 48, 72. What's after 72? 96. We are 96 hours out from posting Pat's Dreams Challenge Fleetwood Mac style video on the golf course, and it is still getting tons of attention on Instagram. If you've not checked that out, you should do that now. But we won't talk about the member guest before it's time because I don't want people pissed off. We can't have that. Got to stick to the golf, the main content. At the end of the show, we'll hit you with that. But after last week, you probably don't even want to listen to us talk about the golf because our picks were an absolute disaster. So maybe you want to just forward to the member guest. And if you don't care all about that, then you should just turn the volume down real low so we get credit for the listen, let it keep playing, and go do something else. It was total carnage last week.
I mean, there were a few good picks. There were a few good ones. I had Wolf. I had James Hahn. Zach Johnson.
Yeah, we did have, somebody else tagged us on Twitter. They won a bunch of money. I think he turned $55 into $5,000 and he said, shout out to whoever it was I heard give the Justin Suh pick, which I know I mentioned Justin Suh on the podcast.
You did, yeah.
Which I'm sure maybe somebody else did too. But anyway, it was not great. It was not a great week for us. We own it, is what it is. The betting card had a couple live ones going into the final round. They all crashed and burned. But long shot season, SZN. I need a t-shirt idea. Somebody out there that, I saw this and I love this. I got to say I love this. I love the betting content that Barstool Sports puts out, aside from foreplay, because that's garbage. But the football stuff they do, the Pardon My Take stuff, it's amazing. It's so good. Yeah, and really they have the new overs club, or overs only club, or whatever, betting the overs. That's like their thing. Very clever. Love it. I need something that's like that hits me in that part of my body about my long shot season. I love the long shots in golf. I love this time of year because the long shots continue to eat, baby. I mean, Martin Laird, we talked about it last week on the show. We did say, hey, stronger field shows up here. We have had some shorter winners hit in the last couple years with Bryson and Cantlay. But you had a Rod Pampling at 300 to 1 win Vegas. You had another long Malnati. No, that was the week before. You had some other long shots win. And Martin Laird comes out in a 3-way playoff after choking it, damn near hitting a shank on 17, then an up and down out of this world for par, then basically sucking again on 18 to force himself into a playoff, and then just comes out and takes it, man. 250 to 1, first time he'd won in the last 7 years. This is the season, man. People, golf bettors, if you're a casual bettor, casual golf follower, this is why you can't just punt on the fall season just because it's football. It's football. I'm a mindless creature. I'm gonna go bet on football. You can't do that. Like, there is money to be made and lots of it. 250 to 1 Martin Laird, 150 to 1 Hudson Swafford for us a couple weeks ago. There's some small names winning these tournaments at big numbers, and there's people on them. It's a good thing. I was happy to see Martin Laird win.
Yeah. And he's always a guy too that tends to pop for me in certain weeks. He did not this week. But I mean, now I will say this. I don't think this week is the same thing. I think I think it's it's going to be a week for the bigger names, but we'll see.
Now, you did, however, if you continue to read the free content on tourjunkies.com, you would have read maybe our buddy Ash Morrison, our resident European Tour friend, TJ contributor, he was the very first TJ contributor outside of me and Pat back in the day. He's resides in England, I think right outside of London, and follows the European Tour extremely close. Writes up an article just about every single week that the European Tour is in action. And in the last 3 out of 4 weeks, he has hit a bet on our website, either a first round leader or an outright. Yet another first round. Actually, I think it's all first round leaders. 3 first round leaders in the last 4 weeks have been written up on Ash Morrison's free write up on tourjunkies.com. I mean, we put out 4 to 5 articles a week for free on the website. And if you've been tracking, you are up many units. So be sure and check those out when they hit. They come out Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It's good stuff, man. Congrats to Ash. Way to hit it again. I think he hit it with Arnos, Adri, or Ardri. I always get his name messed up. He was like 80 to 1. And I think he split it 3 or 4 ways for first round leader.
By the way, what is what's your podcast choose tonight? I don't think we even started.
So glad you asked. This is some Wild Leap, the local gold blonde ale, and in just a minute I will be switching to the Wild Leap transcontinental IPA. It's one of my favorites.
With all due respect to Wild Leap, I gave them enough pub this weekend with the video, so I've got some Tito's tonight with a little mixer in it. So sorry, Wild Leap. Well, I gave you a lot of views on Instagram, so I just wanted to go with some Tito's.
You ran out of Wild Leap, so
Yeah, I mean, I ran out of it.
Gotta,
Well, that was another reason. That's another reason that I've got the Tito's.
we drank plenty of it at the member guest, and that's why we don't have any more. Outside of the carnage that was the DFS world, I will say this. I will make one excuse for us. Outside of our picks were bad, but apparently a lot of people's picks were bad because a lot of people sucked. There was like 3% 6 of 6 lineups across most DFS contests, like 12% 5 of 6. I mean, it was bad. So there was definitely carnage across the board. The other piece of carnage last week was our transition to Discord. So hopefully,
yeah.
I do want to take just a second because this is an easy way for us to communicate to most of you. If you are not a Nut Hut member and you have no interest in being one, then you can check out for about the next maybe 2 minutes or just fast forward. If you are a Nut Hut member or are considering being a Nut Hut member, we did transition to the Discord chat service. It's amazing. Once you're in, it has been so awesome. It's gotten nothing but rave reviews. I think most of the users are in. I think most of our members are in. But I know that there was a lot of stuff going on. There was some chaos. We had to basically take the membership plugin to our WordPress website. We had to take and transition it to another service that then tokenized your login on tj.com to give you access to the Discord server. And there was just a lot of stuff going on with that. And we're still working through it. If you are having trouble getting in, please email us, info@tourjunkies.com. Email us. It's okay. Email us. We'll get to you ASAP. We tried to get to as many people as we could before the chat kicked off on Wednesday, but it was a lot of fun. The chat room has been way more active just, I think, throughout the week because it's so much easier. The app on your phone is killer, and the whole experience is great. Shout out to our buddy Anthony Charter for setting up an amazing Discord experience for us there. Really grateful to him. It's been awesome. By the way, he's also now writing a recap article of the podcast on tourjunkies.com. So you can check that out too. But Anthony was a huge help. All that to say is just, be patient with us, forgive us. We thought it was going to be, we were told it would be smoother. It wasn't. We're still trying to work the kinks out. But once you get in, it's really easy. And the app and Discord in and of itself is premium compared to what we had.
Oh, it's so much better. And I mean, especially these days, everybody's doing things from their phones. I mean, being able to have that app on your phone and just, chat whenever you get a chance to, is just so much easier. So yes, bear with us while we make this change. You'll get logged in. It's the funniest thing though. So how many times did somebody get in last week and you just the first comment was, I made it.
Yeah.
like they had traveled through, just mountains and valleys and rivers and whatever else just to get to the Discord. But they finally got there. And when they got there, they were just so joyous with
we did have a ton of people talk about how much better it was, how much they enjoyed it. And we also had a lot of people say holy crap, I'm going to be way less productive at work with this because it is so much easier and the experience is so much better than the previous chat. It's making me want to be in it more. You want to be in it more. Others want to be in it more. And there's so many sharp people in it. So if you want to join, check it out. Go to tourjunkies.com. $10 a month to have the premium chat. We got some really good, despite our crappy picks, we did get some really good caddy inside information last week on Wednesday about the golf course and something in particular that, we didn't know ahead of time about what they had done to the course. Hadn't heard anybody talk about it before Wednesday night. We got some late messages from some caddies, shared that in the Nut Hut, and it definitely steered my picks. And I just picked the wrong people that fit that profile. But it's going to be a great thing. By the way, we haven't established this, but we need some sort of code word. We've talked about this before. We need a code word for Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, whatever, that is that we deliver on a Wednesday. If you're half paying attention, the code word for we have good info. We just got some good intel from the caddies. Get in the Nut Hut and check it out. Because we don't really want to say on Twitter or Instagram oh, we got caddy inside information. Come on over here. We don't want to get anybody in trouble. But when we get it, we want to let people know what's in there. So if you see anything that resembles a code word, if you see something really strange on a Wednesday that's like alert, chicken livers, or I don't know, just whatever weird
Chicken
thing.
livers. How did that pop? Is the first thing that
For
pops
some reason,
in
I thought of the Sanderson Farms trophy for a second, and then I just said chicken liver. I don't know. If you just see anything that makes no sense, maybe that's what or if I just say, hey, code word, then that just means get in there. It just means go check something out. We do also this is the last thing I'll say about this. We have to work on the video feature. We're not aware that Discord capped the number of viewers in the live video streaming service to 99 or 100, or I think it was 99. I think it was 25, then it was 99. We're going to work on that. It may have to be somewhat of a workaround with the video streaming on YouTube and the chat on Discord. We'll figure that out, or we may just can the video and just do voice. I think we can do voice with a lot more people.
I think it was 25 on the video, but 99 could be in there. They just couldn't see video or something like that. I don't know, it's something weird, but
okay.
Anyway,
figure that out.
We'll get better at that also.
This is why we're doing it in the fall, because like half of you don't give a rip, because all you can think about is your five-way NFL parlay that's going to pay you 40-1 if you don't hit it, or if you hit it, it's not. Okay, I think that's all I got for announcements. Pat, you got anything else?
No, I'm good. I think
we're going to get so many hate comments about the fact that it took us, however long it took to get to the picks. How long have we been here? Like 15 minutes? Oh God, we're gonna get slammed. All right, talk to us about this beautiful golf course that we have rarely seen in Shadow Creek, host site for the CJ Cup.
Yeah, so we're at the CJ Cup this week in Las Vegas, Nevada, at Shadow Creek, as you mentioned, which is a very exclusive club. They're just outside of the city there. It is a par 72 playing just over 7,500 yards. We last saw this course, if you remember, on TV for the Tiger Woods Phil Mickelson match, which was, what was that? Was that 2018 Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it's 2018.
Yeah. Big match. It was a great course, and it's a beautiful course. We got 78 players, by the way, this week. No cut. So kind of just like a WGC event, we will not have a cut, so you don't have to worry about that. This is a Tom Fazio design. It is an immaculate course in fantastic condition. Some might say it's a desert oasis with foliage and water and things like that you might see in the great state of Georgia where we reside. And you know what? This course is kind of has Augusta National feel to it. That's what Fazio wanted to kind of create. The greens here are bent grass greens. There's a lot of undulation, a lot of contours, not only on the greens, but also into the fairways. But they're not really that difficult fairways to hit. The greens are kind of average size. You got 4 par 5s this week. About 3 of them are gettable. I think par 5 scoring is something we're definitely going to want to look at. You got Bermuda grass fairways and rough. And if it's anything like the Bermuda grass rough that we just came off of at your home course, Champions Retreat, it can be a little bit difficult, to say the least. But I still think that, with the elevation and everything else out there, almost any player can, is in it, unless it's just some, I don't know, whoever got in for some reason. But I'm definitely looking at the Bombers for sure.
Great analysis. That's fantastic.
I don't think it is going to, you like that? I don't think that it's going to play all that difficult at all. I still think they're going to score a lot this week. I think that, there are a decent amount of water hazards. About half the holes on this course, water is in place. So that's something to look out for. As far as stats, now, you say great analysis and all that kind of stuff, but we don't have a whole lot on Shadow Creek. This is not a course that these guys play every single year. So I think that, and you go back to the Nut Hut, this is one of the reasons that like a week like this is where the Nut Hut comes in play a lot, because we're going to get caddy information from guys that we hear about, on this course. When they get there, we're going to get more of that later in the week than we have right now, because there's just not a whole lot of write-ups. If you're going to, try to find a whole lot, it's kind of difficult right now, other than just sort of the basics of this course, par 72, 7,500 yards, 4 par 5s, that kind of stuff. Who designed it? It's immaculate, whatever. I mean, all those stuff I just said is where you're going to get that anywhere. It doesn't matter if you listen to us or whoever. But where you're not going to get, what you're not going to get is what we're going to get as far as caddy information and things like that later in the week when it comes to how this course is playing, whose style it fits, and things like that. So I think that's important to look out for. But right now, of course, I'm always looking at form. I like ball striking this week. I like distance this week. I like par 5 scoring. I mentioned that. Your past champs here, JT 2019, Brooks 2018, JT 2017. Doesn't matter because they were on Jeju Island in Korea somewhere playing the CJ Cup at the 9 Bridges course. It really has 8 bridges with 1 metaphorical bridge. So it was a totally different spot. Doesn't matter. So there you go. That's the course breakdown for the CJ Cup at Shadow Creek. DB, what will you add? What little piece of information did you maybe find about the course that I didn't mention?
Way to use metaphorical in a sentence. That was good for you, bud. I actually let me say this because
every time,
our buddy,
by the way, I do the course breakdown, I feel like the whatever you're looking at as far as what people are chatting it up is like gets like it height. It's like if there was like a spike, like some sort of chart of people chatting, they all of a sudden go into that, and it drives me up the wall because I can see your face.
Yeah. Well,
how about they try to find a lot of information on Shadow Creek that costs like $2,000 to play or whatever. Well, it's 500, okay, but it takes forever to get out there. But anyway.
Okay. We do have 5 caddies that are at Shadow Creek this week. We're excited to hear from them about what they think of the course for sure, because we are all going to pontificate on what we think it's going to play like, as Pat said. And our buddy Marcus Griffin, Nut Hutter and TJ Nut Hut League on DraftKings runner, figure outer update guy, did have a sharp thing on caddy info. If you are a member of the Nut Hut, you can set notifications on the Discord caddy info channel so that you just get a notification whenever something is added to the caddy info channel. Very, very sharp there, Marcus. That way we don't have to tweet out a code word. You don't have to catch it. You can just have the notification. Beautiful.
That's good. Thanks, Marcus. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yep. You're pretty good there. I think it's a good course breakdown. I definitely think that this course is going to play pretty easy from the tee. I'm looking at strokes gained off the tee just in general, but I think it's more about the iron play, the approach play. I've read some things, larger, undulating, fast, bent grass greens that feel like Augusta. So to me, like being able to hit your irons and wedges on the proper tiers of these greens and being able to, hit your targets, control your distance is going to be important.
Maybe proximity.
No, that's a terrible stat. Remember it is at elevation, ball's going to travel a little bit further. So the 7,500 yards won't feel like 7,500 for a lot of these players, but I do think it's still a longer course, and I love the Bombers still. So, we do know too that, and I'm going to say this, like maybe this got posted in the Nut Hut today, but it was a picture, and maybe some Nut Hutters are going to be mad at me for sharing this, but this is actually already information I've seen today on the internet, so don't freak out. But someone in the Nut Hut today posted a picture of the scorecard that is in Shadow Creek's clubhouse for the course record, held by one Dustin Johnson. It's a 65 that he fired from same yardage, basically. Played with Wayne Gretzky that day, his old father-in-law, and a couple other people I didn't recognize. But so DJ has the course record, obviously in a non-PGA Tour event, but something to think about there. And actually, that's another reminder of inside information delivered to the Nut Hut last week that was not from a caddy, but we had someone local to Vegas who told us that on Wednesday's Pro-Am, Bryson shot a 59, and then that led a bunch of people in the Nut Hut to put a first-round leader bet on him, and then he won first-round leader.
Yeah.
Pretty baller.
What were the odds on that? It had to be pretty short, but I mean,
I think it was like
20 to 1, something like
16 to 1 or something.
16
yeah.
to 1.
Anyway, so I'm looking at putting on bent grass, par 5 scoring, or DraftKings scoring, no cut event, right? 78-man field, no cut event, scoring in terms of DFS, make birdies, make eagles. To me, give me bombers over 4 days, guaranteed to play 16 par fives unless they withdraw. I think I did the math right there. Yes. Give me that. I like the long hitters. It's a drivable par 4 on this course. I think just being more of a, kind of not resort style, but just it's in Vegas. Like it's kind of a destination place. I don't think it's going to be too difficult for these guys off the tee. So I think DraftKings scoring is going to be a big deal for DFS.
I did look at that as well. So
you look like you have something to say.
No, I don't think I do.
Okay.
I have picks to talk about. Yeah.
Let's talk about some picks then, bud. Let's get into some picks here on DraftKings. We're going to start with the 9K and above range. Now, I will say this, like I am not, especially with the bath that I took last week, I'm probably scaling back the bankroll in terms of DFS for this no-cut event. It is a nice field. I'm going to watch it because I'm going to want to see Shadow Creek on display. But, will I have a whole lot of DFS dollars out there? Probably not as much as normal. And I know there's plenty of touts out there that are like, oh, this is the best. I love these kind of weeks when everybody else says don't play, you play. That's great for you. I think it's honestly a little bit of a personal preference. I do think there's some logic to it. There's less variability. There's more duplicates out there. I think there's some of that, but I also think it's preference. And for me, I just prefer not to with some of these events. Now, betting these events, I almost think I'll be a little heavier on the betting card because I love this like mid-range, these mid-range shots. I want to have a bunch of those on my outright card. But yeah, I just won't be doing the same bankroll for DFS. So 9K and above, 3 tournament plays or GPP plays, a cash play, and a fade is what we're going to give you. All right. Let's see. How do I want to start here? All right, I'm gonna tell you about a guy, Pat. Let me tell you about a guy before I tell you his name. Okay, you tell me if you get it right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Don't cheat. Top 10 in this field in approach play over the last 24 rounds. Top 30 strokes gained off the tee and DraftKings scoring over the last 24 rounds. He his most recent event, he missed the cut. Did you know that he has not missed 2 cuts in a row since 2016? And that following his last 3 missed cuts, he followed those events with no worse than a T21 finish. This fellow actually sucks at putting overall, but that bent grass, he's not too bad on. It's not his worst surface. It's not his best surface, but he's not too shabby. And that in his last event on bent grass, he gained, wait for it, 7.5 strokes putting. 7.5. Now, the final little tidbit I'll give you that'll probably tip it off for you is I did say his last event was a miscut, but prior to that, he has gone 17th, 15th, 3rd, 29th, 22nd, 20th, miscut, 22nd, 21st, miscut since the restart. Do you know who I am talking about?
I don't even have to I don't even think I have to do enough thinking to feel like I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Hideki Matsuyama.
Hideki Matsuyama.
Yes, I knew it.
This is a great spot to jump back on Hideki. I am hoping and wishing that, people will be, he was 21% owned at the Shriners on average. I'm hoping that people are going to be off of him. He lost strokes in every category, tee to green. Why did I say 7.5 strokes putting? He gained 2.5 strokes putting. My bad. 7.5 would be ungodly. He gained 2.5 strokes putting on the bent grass surface last week at Shriners. That's insane.
That's good Hideki. For him.
But there are just not events where he misses, where he loses strokes to the field off the tee and approach. It does not happen often. Happened last week. I think it's an anomaly. He's great at bouncing back off of missed cuts. It's been since 2016, Pat, that he's missed 2 in a row. I love catching him here. It's a 4-day event. Hideki's going to be ready to go. He's going to score. Like I said, I mean, checks the box. He is, in the last 24 rounds, he is 23rd in this field in DraftKings points scored. $9,200. Now, I will say this. I am all in on the studs and duds approach this week, as I'm sure most people will be, okay? I don't love the middle range as much, and Hideki is really the only guy in the lower part of this range I'm going to have, because moving up, I love Matt Wolff, who I think will be chalk this week, but it's chalk I'm eating. He is another GPP play for me, as well as a cash play. I love the way Matt's playing right now. I think he's going to fit the profile for this course. It's a scoring fest. Give me Matt Wolff eating up these par fives all week long. He's already been in Vegas a week. So, I mean, hell, and he finished runner-up. Like, he's sown his wild oats as a young man. We talked about him last week in particular. You know, handsome young single guy with money in Vegas. Like, geez, I'm scared. But he kept it together, kept it zipped up, and hopefully he's ready to play this week. So I like Matt Wolff. And then, you know, I think I'll continue to look at guys like DJ and Xander. Those are a couple names up there that are popping for me too. I guess I'd rather have DJ. He's going to be chalky too. I think a lot of people are going to avoid John Rahm. So if you want to zig, not zag, I get it. For me, you know, it's hard to talk myself out of any of these guys really up top, but I prefer to go ahead and eat the chalk with DJ and Wolff and make it up somewhere else. But Wolff is a cash play. I think I'd start a cash lineup with Matt Wolff at 10K. I played Decky in cash too. Now, don't get me wrong. But my fade in this range is going to be Tyrrell Hatton. Coming off the win last week, I get it. And Tyrrell Hatton's been playing very, very well this entire year. He's been playing very, very well. Okay. Great player. He's obviously kind of put it up a notch in 2020. Okay. But I don't know, big events, you know, this is a big event. Is, you know, US Open, he missed the cut. PGA, he missed the cut against some tough competition. And I just don't love, like, the travel, coming to Vegas, 4-day guaranteed paycheck. I don't know. Like, I just don't love the little extra, like, motivational factor or maybe fatigue factor for guys coming over from Wentworth last week. I mean, I know, you know, it's a cushy ride, but it's a golf course nobody's seen before in Shadow Creek, really. I don't love guys coming over from that. And bent grass is his worst surface by a mile. And we all know Tyrrell Hatton is a fantastic putter. That's where he makes a lot of strokes up, is putting. He's not great off the tee. He's not great with his irons, but he's a really, really good putter. But he is insanely better putting on Bermuda and POA over his career. He is very bad. In fact, over the last 100 rounds, he's 43rd in this field in strokes gained putting on bent grass over his career. So I'll fade Tyrrell Hatton.
Okay, interesting here. I'll start with that because Hatton was also my fade. So I'll pivot off of that and give you a different fade after I give my GPP plays. But I'll start with Rory. I think at 10-6, I like him this week. I think we might get him a little bit lower owned. You know, he's had the baby and everything. Everything's behind him. No cut, so no real pressure on him. You know, I think Rory could make for a good play. You know, he's definitely long off the tee. You know, he's pretty much going to check every box that you can imagine for this type course and for, you know, and for this event. So I like him there. Again, I'll be interested to see where his ownership is, but at 10-6, I think that's a good price for him. And as I mentioned, I just think there's not a whole lot of pressure for him to really do that great this week. And, you know, in that atmosphere, I like him even more. So I will play some Rory here at 10-6. I'm with you on Matthew Wolff. He was my other GPP play for all the same reasons that you said. So I will play him in tournaments. My cash play was actually Xander. I just think, you know, I like that price better than Wolff, you know, I don't want to say I like the price better, but I just like Xander a little more in cash. I just think he's he's got maybe a little bit more upside, and he's just kind of a safer play, regardless of whether or not it's no cut. So I like some Xander this week as well in cash. My other GPP play is Victor Hovland down at the bottom at 9,000. Everybody's forgetting about Victor Hovland. It's not like he's played all that bad as far as his recent form. I mean, you look at it, he was, T13 at the U.S. Open, 20th at Tour Championship. I know there's only 30 guys there, but still, Victor Hovland is still a very good player who can win an event like this. Now,
is Victor going to go haywire his first week in Vegas?
That's what I was about to say. Like Victor Hovland could have like a Vegas risk. Like he has that Vegas risk behind him. Like we don't know what could happen there, but maybe that drives his ownership down a little bit. I don't know, but I don't think he's going to be particularly high owned there at 9,000. So I like him as a GPP play.
Who do you think would pull more chicks in Vegas on a night out? It's a competition, or it's just maybe it's a week long thing. Like who pulls more in Vegas, Hovland or Wolf?
I think Wolf, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay.
I think Hovland, and I'm going to tell you why after you tell me why.
So if you watch Wolf, and you have, the guy talks like crazy. Like
that's why I think he's not going to make it happen.
No, but he'll talk.
Even a woman would tell him to shut up.
No, but I think he talks so much that he's not realizing that he's also not drinking and stuff there. So there's like a drink there, and he's not drinking himself out of it. Whereas like I think Hovland drinks himself out of it. Like I think he's probably like sitting there, he's so laid back, and he's just sitting there and drinking, and he doesn't stand up. So what happens when you don't stand up, like I have experience with this. If you don't stand up for like 2 hours and you've been drinking the whole time,
you don't stand up.
Eventually,
what are you, like 100?
Eventually, you're gonna just pass out, and you're done, and you're out. You're done. Like you there's nothing left you can do because you've passed out. So I think Wolf like keeps it together longer than Hovland does, and so that's why I think Matthew Wolf is going to pull more. I think he's going to have, he's going to be the winner in that department. Like Hovland's just going to like be out of it somehow.
Okay, first of all, I just realized that I never plugged my mic in. So for this whole podcast, the sound has been going through my computer. So I apologize to everybody there. Hopefully this is better. Never done that before. So here we go.
Sounds like something I would do.
Victor Hovland, the talking thing is going to work totally outside of Matt's favor here. There is not a wife wants you to talk more. Okay. Some floozy in Vegas does not want you to talk. Okay, as much, and he will talk. Like Matt Wolf could talk his way into it, and then very shortly talk his way right out of it because he can't stop talking. And here's what Victor has going for him. Victor has, first of all, he's not from here. He's from Norway, so he's got a slight accent, and he can say he's from Norway, and he's got like those rosy cheeks, kind of, and like kind of that aw shucks kind of vibe to him. And he, I don't think the alcohol would be a problem. I think weed would be his thing, but it would work in his favor. He'd be very laid back, very calm, cool, collected, just rosy cheeked Norwegian kid. Are you kidding me? He would boat race Matt Wolf in this competition.
Anyway, I think he would pass out and be done. But,
anyway, Hovland.
So there you go. My fade, since you took Hatton, I will go with Morikawa. We just haven't seen a whole – I mean, he's missed his last 2 cuts. Now, granted, that was the U.S. Open, which was very difficult. But he missed the cut last week at the Shriners. Maybe he bounces back. You get a little bit better ownership on him. I understand that. But he hasn't putted well in 3 of his last 5 events. He lost 3 strokes putting, I believe. I'm right, last week at the Shriners. Yeah, lost over 3 strokes putting last week. I just think that maybe we've seen the end of, his, I don't want to say run because I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like maybe he's hitting a little bit of a dry spell. I know what a dry spell looks like. Believe me.
Yeah.
I've seen it. And I think like we could be getting just a little bit of a dry spell out of Morikawa. Maybe he's not quite as interested. He won the freaking PGA Championship. I mean, he's done everything he needed to do this season. So maybe he's kind of checking out a little bit here in the fall. Just a little, my theory. I could be wrong. But and look, if I get Morikawa really low owned, then I'm definitely going to play him. But right now, I think he could be a fade candidate at 9,500, so I will not play him. So there you go. We didn't talk about Brooks at all. He's back.
I'm out.
But I'm out on him.
Yeah. The knee, the hip, all that. I mean, why not show up and give it a shot at a no-cut event in Vegas? You know, him and Jenna can do whatever. And I mean, why not do it? So, but I would definitely love to wait and see. I think there's so many good names up here that you'll have a little bit of a dip in ownership just because you can't play them all. That even if you think, oh, I'll get the ownership leverage on him, you're going to still get some ownership leverage on another great player up there too. That I'm not worried about messing with it.
Yeah,
and that's totally a play. You know, if people say, well, you know, I'm going to play this guy up here because of the ownership in DFS, that's definitely a viable play for sure. There's a lot of good names up here near the top. Pick your player, plant your flag, but you can't play all of them. Just don't. So know that. All right, let's move to the 8K range. 2 players in tournaments, a cash play, and a fade. All right, I'll start with my fade. This is where I got the 7.5 number from because I wrote it down here, but then I looked at, okay. Ricky Fowler lost 7.5 strokes on approach last week. And I have written down here, wow. That's what I have. Just wow.
That's what I have, actually.
That is a lot of strokes for Ricky with irons over 2 days. That's just a lot. So I'm not trusting the ball striking with Rick right now. I know he's working on it. I hope he gets it figured out. But man, like it's not pretty out there right now. And he's, you know, he's a name down there at 8,100. And I don't think a lot of people are going to play him, but I think you'd be ill-advised to play Ricky. All right, I'm going to go my cash play, and I definitely love him in tournaments, is Louis Oosthuizen again. Kill me if you're tired of hearing this, but I mean, give me a break. I've been talking about him for weeks as he's gone on to finish 19th, 3rd, 25th, 13th, and 33rd his last 5 events. And the ownership continues to barely do anything. Like he was 7% at the PGA, 8% at the Northern Trust, 6% at the BMW. He got up to 18% at the US Open, 12.5% last week at the Shriners. He's just ball striking. You know, he's doing it. He's doing it all right now. Love Louis. You know, I don't know why you wouldn't play Louis. So I'm in on him. For my tournament plays, I'm going to give you 2 guys that missed the cut last week, similar to Hideki. Scotty Scheffler, Harris English. And I think there's going to be plenty of names, plenty of touts out there. They're going to tell you to get on these guys as well. I don't think I'm going to be the only one doing this. That'd be crazy. These guys have been playing too well, too often to, you know, have everybody jump ship because of one bad week. But Scheffler, first of all, you know, I love the no cut, 4 rounds, 4 par 5s, short par 4. I love that for him. He's had a couple of really tough weeks with the irons since coming back from COVID at the US Open, all that kind of thing. He came back from COVID and, you know, said he was rusty in a press conference before the Sanderson Farms, and then proceeded to lose 3.5 strokes with his irons. And then the next week, last week for the Shriners, he did cut that in half. He only lost 1.7 with his irons. Okay. He cut it in half. He's still killer off the tee. You know, so he's putting it together. I think he's shaking a little rust off, but I still like Scotty a lot from a scoring standpoint. And then Harris English, you know, what can you say? Like the guy's been as solid as anyone just about on planet Earth since the restart. And he finally has a miscut, you know, like what are you going to do? He lost strokes putting. He lost a stroke and a half putting and over a stroke around the greens, which, I mean, the last time both of those things happened, that he lost strokes putting and around the green, was in April of 19 at the Valero Texas Open. It doesn't happen a whole lot for Harris English. I don't think it's going to happen again. He's a very solid bent grass putter. In fact, he's 3rd in this field over the last 100 rounds in putting on bent grass. And prior to the Shriners miscut, he's coming off a 4th at the U.S. Open. You know, good showing at East Lake, 40th at BMW on a difficult track, 2nd at the Northern Trust. I mean, he's just been racking up top 20s and top 25 since the restart. I think you jump back on him. Don't be scared. play Harris English. So there you go. You took a break during that, and I got to go get another beer. So hit me with your
Was
8K.
that your tournament play? Like, give me a quick before you go.
Tournament plays were English and Scheffler. Cash was Louis. Fade was Ricky.
Okay. All right. Well, we can agree on that with Fowler. He was actually my fade as well. So now we're at we're two categories in here, and we both have the same fade. But I do think Ricky is maybe a little bit of an easy choice, but I do like fading him this week. His game is just, it's not there. I wrote him up in the fantasy golf sommelier, hoping that maybe I might be, I might catch fire one week with him, but it's just not working with old Ricky. So I will fade him as well. My first GPP play is Sung J M. I like him at 8,700. I mean, you look at the form lately. I mean, he's getting it back. I mean, he kind of had a bad, stretch in the summer. Finished T13 last week at the Shriners, T28 at Sanderson Farms. Had the, was 22nd at the U.S. Open, 11th at the Tour Championship. So the consistency, the good play is coming back. You look at his stats, he's checking the box in. Ball striking, he's top 10 in the field. Strokes gained off the tee, top 10 in the field. Par 5 scoring, he's 6th in the field. Opportunities gained, so a scoring stat right there. He is 12th in the field. Driving distance, top 25, proximity, all the things. I mean, he literally checks every single box. So I like Sung J M a lot this week at 8,700. I will play him also as my cash play as well. And then another guy that I like in tournaments is someone we saw that's not going to really check a ton of boxes when you look at the stats outside of maybe putting on bent grass, where he checks the box there. Also strokes gained off the tee. But Abraham Answer at 8,200, I like a lot this week. We saw him have a good finish last week. I think this is a good course for him. His caddy's from Vegas and lives in Vegas, so probably has a little bit of a experience factor here with Shadow Creek. So I like Abraham Answer as a tournament play at 8,200. So there you go. Quick and easy. DB, that brew there looks pretty good.
Nothing like a nice cold Wild Leap IPA and a frosted mug. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. All right. Let's get into 7K, Pat. Before we do, we'd like to thank our friends at Fantasy National Golf Club, the best spot for PGA Tour and now Korn Ferry stats, lineup optimizers, ownership projections, all that fun stuff. If you bet on golf or play daily fantasy golf, head over to fantasynational.com/TJ, or whenever you sign up, put in the promo code Tour Junkies. Tell them you heard about them from the Tour Junkies, and you get 20% off any membership level that you pick. They have weekly memberships, monthly, or annual memberships, and then even if you change the membership plan, if you go from weekly to annually, for example, you still get the 20% off for as long as you're a member because you told them the Tour Junkies sent you. We've been with Fantasy National for over 3 years now. Love them, and that's where all this information, all the data, all the stats, all that comes from Fantasy National. Check them out. All right, 7K. Let's try to move through this. 3 tournament plays, a cash play, and a fade. All right. I will give you – let me get to it. All right. Because of the way I'm going to build a lot of lineups, which is going to be studs and duds, I don't have a whole lot above 7,400. I just don't. So an easy fade for me is going to be a guy who's Mr. Inconsistent. And I like him, and he should fit this course, but he's inconsistent, and that's Gary Woodland. I don't love Gary. He's got he came out from the restart and did okay. Had a 9th place finish at the Charles Schwab, then a 62nd, then a missed cut, then a 5th at the Workday, and then a 22nd, and then it's basically been garbage since then. So I just don't see Gary checking a whole lot of boxes. He actually, for being a bomber, he's 45th in this field out of 78 in DraftKings points scored. That's not what you want. Gary's going to par the place to death. Forget it. So he's my fade. My cash play is a guy that I'm going to jump in. I made fun of you. Last week. I will eat my crow here. On his way to finishing 13th because he is putting the doo-doo out of the ball. And that is Brian Harman. Little cockbite. Little cockbite who is what our friend Brendan Todd told us that his nickname was at University of Georgia. Well, cockbite rolls the rock. I mean, 7 strokes putting last week on a surface that is historically over his career his worst surface in bent grass. 7 strokes. And plenty of people can go, oh, putting's very variable. It is, and it could leave him. But I mean, he's been putting the eyes out of it for his last like 7 tournaments. I don't know. I kind of feel like it's a safe play. I feel like a guy like Brian Harman comes into an event like this with a lot of motivation, wanting to prove himself, wanting to compete against a big name in a big field in a tournament that he doesn't get in very often. I mean, you got to finish top 60 in the FedEx Cup to get into this or have a sponsor's exemption. Brian Harman's never going to get a sponsor's exemption to the CJ Cup. So he earned his way into this thing, and you kind of got to feel like guys like that, I feel like, play with a little extra. There's guys in this field that are going to play in this thing every year till the cows come home because they're the best in the world. And, it's Vegas, and, like, who knows what can happen, right? But there are other guys in this field that I feel like really know they come into this, and it's a rare opportunity to play in this no-cut event, get some points, play well, and compete against some of the best in the world. So Harman falls in that category for me, and I'll go ahead and own it. I did not want to play him last week. All right. So my tournament plays. I'm gonna go down the bottom because this is what I like. I like playing down here in the bottom of the barrel here. 7K. Jason Kokrak. Wasn't on him for the Shriners.
I faded last week, and it turned out to be a good fade.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. We weren't on for the Shriners, missed the cut. But, first event coming back after the U.S. Open, almost a month off. He was just a little rusty off the tee. Normally is always gaining strokes off the tee. He lost a third of a stroke off the tee last week, which is very rare for Jason Kokrak. The last time he has lost a third of a stroke or more, just 0.3, okay? 0.3. The last time in a PGA Tour event he has lost 0.3 strokes off the tee was in June of 2019. It's been over a year. Like that's not going to happen for Kokrak again. He actually putted and chipped basically his average, and then he hit his irons basically his average. He just didn't do his thing off the tee, but he will, and he has been. 17th at the U.S. Open, 6th at the BMW, 13th at the Northern Trust, 15th at the Wyndham. Like Kokrak's a dude. He's been playing really, really well. So I love Kokrak in tournaments, and he may be a little chalky for down here, but I still like where he's at. Then I'm going to go with my boy. I've been riding him, Siwoo Kim, 7,100. The reason I love Siwoo Kim is it's a no-cut event, and its scoring matters. He is 4th. I keep telling people this. Every week I've been saying this. He's a scorer. He's aggressive. Yes, he could totally tank your lineups, but not this week unless he withdraws. Even if he plays all 4 rounds and he finishes DFL, I guarantee you he will not finish DFL in DraftKings scoring. Like, he's a scorer. He's 4th in this field over the last 24 in DraftKings points scored, 28th in par 5 scoring, 19th in strokes gained off the tee, coming off an 8th place finish at the Shriners. Guess what his best putting surface is over his PGA Tour career? Bent grass. Love Siwoo. I'm going to keep riding it. I'm going to bet him too. I'll just go ahead and spoil that as well. Finally, it's tough not to play Bubba Watson. It's $7,300, considering, Bombers course, green similar to Augusta, 4 par 5s, and Bubba's, been playing okay. He's been playing okay. 31st at the U.S. Open, 16th at Olympia Fields, 18th at the Northern Trust. All great events. He's been playing pretty good. I'm a little worried about the rust with Bubba, and despite his incredible record at Augusta National, historically, he's, over his career, he's not good on bent. But 7,300 in a no-cut event for Bubba with 4 par 5s, distance being a factor for me, that's a really good price. I'll take Bubba.
Very shocked that you had Bubba. I don't know why, but I just didn't think you would.
I like Bubba.
I have him as well as one of my tournament plays for all the same reasons. Bubba plays good on courses too like this. Has Augusta feel to it. Everyone talks about that with this course. I think, there are some dog legs on this course that will play to his advantage in his shot shape. And so I think Bubba makes a lot of sense. I like the price at 7,300. You look at his putting on bent over the last 100 rounds, it hasn't been all that great, but, it tends to be one that he's comfortable when it's fast and a lot of speed and contouring and that kind of stuff. So you don't always get bent grass greens that are on courses or, like this, where there's so much slope and things like that, which I think he likes and he's creative around. So I like Bubba as well. He will be one of my tournament plays. My other tournament play is your fade, and this is a gut play for me, but it's Gary Woodland. I think actually he could have a good week this week. I know we haven't seen him play all that well lately, but you look at the scoring stats, he's 13th in the field in opportunities gained. You know, he obviously hits it a long way off the tee. That's going to be an advantage for him. He's 13th in the field in par 5 scoring, checks the box in approach as well. I think Woodland at 7,700 is definitely going to have low ownership because I think a lot of people are going to fade him like you are, and I think that that could end up being a mistake. And you could get a very low owned Gary Woodland this week at 7,700, and I want to be a part of that. So I will play some Gary Woodland this week. My other GPP play is Sebastian Munoz at 7,000. I mean, it's just 7, the guy's been so damn consistent, you know, checks boxes. You know, you look at opportunities gained, you know, off the tee, his ball striking, everything, the form, all of that. Sebastian Munoz is doing a great job there. So I like him at 7,000. He will be another tournament play. Another guy that I think could be a tournament or a cash play, but I'll just put him in the cash slot, is Joaquin Niemann at 7,500. He's been in fantastic form. I feel like his time is just coming. I mean, it's like he's got to get a victory in here at some point.
Well, I mean, he's won, Pat.
No, I know, but I mean, like, he's got to get another victory because it's been a while for him. Like, I think he should have more victories than he's had at this point. I mean, you know, before the Colin Morikawas and the Matthew Wolfs, it was Joaquin Niemann, and he kind of got left in the dust by those guys and Victor Hovland and whatever else. But I think he's just as talented and can win a lot on this tour. And so I like Niemann. You know, he definitely,
believe it or not, he won a year ago. It just feels like a long time ago.
Well, maybe it just feels like a long time ago.
He could have won the BMW, but
yeah. But anyway, 13th off the tee. He's second in driving distance. He's 20th in putting on bent grass greens. So I like Niemann at 7,500. And then my fade is, and this is kind of a, you know, this is definitely a cop-out fade, but I can't play Justin Rose at 7,800. I think people might be wanting to play him though. At that
I'm actually
price.
shocked you don't want to play him.
Like you see Justin Rose at 7,800 and you're like, damn, I gotta play Justin Rose at 7,800. But he's not. I mean, stat wise, it's not too bad. But you know, as far as his tournament play, that's been bad. I mean, just when he's been in tournaments, he's not really doing a whole lot. And I'm not going to play him at 7,800. So he will be my fade this week in this category. So there you go.
All right, 6K real quick. I'll give you 4 names I like. I'm gonna give you 3 names I like, 1 name I love. 3 names I like. I like Corey Connors. Corey has kind of hurt us a little bit in the last couple weeks. You know, we get some info on Corey. Sometimes it happens the way the info says, and sometimes it doesn't. But I love the ball striking ability, and that I don't have to sweat him missing the freaking cut on the number with a stupid putt that he misses on the 36th hole. I love that. And the ball striking capability is there. And this, I believe Corey Connors actually has win equity here. You know, a lot of names here do. There are a lot of names that do. But I think Corey Connors does have win equity and definitely has top 10 upside, even in this field at 6,900. Call me crazy. A guy who I almost mentioned last week, and I just could not bring myself to do it, and he finished T24, is Cam Smith. Like, all of a sudden, and I say all of a sudden, I guess it hasn't been that all of a sudden, but it feels like it's been all of a sudden. Cam Smith is playing well again because he was pretty bad. He was pretty bad. And but 18th at the Northern Trust, 20th BMW, 38th at the U.S. Open, 24th at the Shriners. Nothing crazy, but the approach play, the short game is kind of coming back for him a little bit. He's always been a really solid short game player. I don't know, like, it's an interesting name down there. Again, in a no-cut event that I think has some upside to have a great week and do well. The player that I love is Mackenzie Hughes. And I feel like Mackenzie Hughes is going to be pretty popular down here, maybe 10%, which is popular for a 6K guy. His best surface is not bent grass, which worries me a little bit, but he's a bomber, hits a long way, plenty good form. I mean, his form is pretty spectacular for a guy down here. He's 7th in the field in DraftKings points scored, 8th in par 5 on strokes gained par 5. I love Hughes here, coming off a 3rd at Corrales that he should have won or could have won. 10th at the BMW, 13th at the Northern Trust, played okay at the Tour Championship. I love Mackenzie Hughes at 68. But then if I got to go all the way to the bottom of the barrel, like you are playing a major studs and duds stack, why not play Tom Hoge at $6,100?
Don't say it, damn it.
He's going to be like 4% owned. But Hoge, man, Hoge's hitting the ball solid right now. Solid finishes, not in a field like this, but in a no cut. I mean, and similar to what I said about Brian Harman, a guy like Hoge shows up here and he's like, I mean business. You know what I mean? Like, he has to take advantage of events like this because he doesn't get into them often. These, invite only, no cut, short man kind of deals, short field events. That wasn't a Brian Harman joke, but a short field event, like, he's got to take advantage of these things. And his irons are on point right now. 4 strokes gained on approach, 3.3 at the Sanderson the week before. Like, his irons are on right now. I think Hoge is an interesting play at a super cheap price that you can fit in a couple of those studs and get him for 4 rounds, and maybe he scores a little bit. I mean, in the 78-man field that we're looking at here, he's 39th in DraftKings points scored over the last 24 rounds, 37th in par 5 scoring. Like, that's pretty good for a guy at basically almost min price. So Hoge for me too.
Wow. All right. So you actually started every single category, and
oh, my bad.
That really threw me off because, we try to nail down our picks, and you talked about a lot of mine. So Cam Smith was a guy I was kind of a little surprised you had him. He was somebody I had down here at 6,800 for all the reasons that you said. I like him as well. Tom Hoge was my cheapest guy at 6,100. So appreciate you there. And then the other guy that I will mention that you did not talk about was Adam Long at 6,600. I think he makes a lot of sense this week. Now, look, he didn't make the cut at the Sanderson Farms, which was his last start, but he was 5th at the Corrales back a few weeks ago, had a top 15, kind of a sneaky top 15 finish at the U.S. Open. I think Adam Long could be a good play this week. A guy that is, especially in a no-cut event, and is certainly going to be low-owned, and who has some good finishes on tour lately. So I will throw in Adam Long as well. Nobody else was written down, and so I can't really, besides the ones you've mentioned. I mean, I do like Dylan Fratelli at 6,600. He's checking a lot of boxes, but he scares the hell out of me because I never can pick him right. I think Fratelli could be an interesting play this week as well, as long as he doesn't, have a whole lot of ownership. But he doesn't putt that great on bent grass. But anyway, so there you go. That would be my 6K range.
I didn't stop him last week.
No.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Let's talk a little sportsbook. Now, we've got some earlier lines out with the tournament field being locked in sooner, so we can talk through some things. I mean, we're not going to talk about first round leader bets here because you don't do that before you get more of the weather under wraps on like a Wednesday. But, outrights, I don't really love a lot of the top 20 numbers. They're not long enough for me with the limited field. There's one top 10 number I like. And then maybe we can just talk through some matchups because I see some matchups now. I haven't really had a chance to really dig in deep, but they've been added here in the last couple hours. So we could do that. Where are you going to start? Since you got mad at me for starting every category, I'll let you start and hit me with a handful of your outright bets.
Well, a couple of the shortest guys that I'll talk about here. I like Matthew Wolff at 22-1. I think he's, if you're going to throw some money on a shorter odds guy, I think that's about as short as I would go.
Yep.
Also, we didn't mention him as a DFS play, but Daniel Berger at 33-1. I think he's another one that's worth playing this week if you're throwing some money down. I like Joaquin Niemann at 66-1. I think that's a good number for him. I like Bubba at 71. That's another good number I think this week. If you're looking longer than like the at the longest odds, we mentioned Cam Smith. I like him at 100-1. I think that's a good play there. I feel like the longest odds guy that I would go would be probably Hoge at 250-1. If you just want to throw a few dollars down, go Hoge at 250-1 because the guy can score. And I just feel like this could be an event like all of a sudden he could win out of nowhere. But
God, if he won this event, I mean, long shot season would be an epic long shot season.
Yeah, so I would maybe look there, but that's about it for me as far as my bets, and then we can talk some matchups after yours.
All right, well, I got a few more. I mean, first of all, complete agreement with Wolf, and I think he's as short as I would go. I do like the Bubba play. At 70-1, I feel like that number is going to be down pretty good. I mean, right now it's 70-1 on points bet. Which, by the way, if you are in New Jersey or Indiana, I think Illinois, Indiana, New Jersey, I don't know. God, I don't know. Just try it out. And you want to set up a points bet account, you can do so with promo code TJ250 and get a deposit bonus, TJ250. They've got a really cool game over there, as well as your traditional golf bets. You're going to hear more about points bet from us in the coming months, I guess, here. So we really like what they're doing over there. So TJ250 promo code there. But Bubba's 70-1 on points bet. So I like that call. I'm going to keep going Louis. I can't stop Louising. Every week I want to be on Louis. I just do. He's 45-1.
You want to be on him?
I want to be on him. I want to be on Louis. 45-1. Yes. I'll take that. That's on DraftKings Sportsbook. Siwoo Kim every week, 90-1 points bet. That's a good number there, 90-1.
I don't mind it actually.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. And what did he finish? 8th last week? And we saw we got some inside info. By the way, if you guys aren't a fan of Siwoo Kim, you should be a fan of Siwoo Kim. If you knew some of the funny stuff that we hear about Siwoo Kim, you would be like, oh my God, I love Siwoo Kim. He is hilarious. I would love to get him on the podcast. But we get every now and then information reported to us about Siwoo. And last week on like Friday night, I think it was, we saw something. And I was like, oh, he is done for the rest of the weekend. He's done. Well, he came out and finished 8th. So I think he's gotten the Vegas out of his system, and he's probably going to be focused.
It's definitely out of his system from what we've seen.
Sign me up. And then some of the names I mentioned, at the cheaper end of the DFS range, but I do, when I first opened up the outright numbers, I was like, man, I'm going to be staying like really tight in this middle range, which I think I am. I mean, Bubba, Wolf is a shorter number, but Bubba, Wolf, Louis, I really like those guys. I might put a lot more, I might put a full unit on those names, but there are some long shots that I like. I mean, I think Mackenzie Hughes and Corey Connors at 125-1 are both fantastic numbers. I talked about both those guys in the DFS section. Both are PGA Tour winners. Both have flashed solid form in the recent weeks. Both come into this event a limited field, special invite only, no cut event, knowing that this has to be a week that they take advantage of. Both can hit it plenty long for this course. For Connors, it's all about the putter. For Hughes, it's like, can he hit a few more fairways and stay out of the water? But 125-1 is a really long number in a field where there's like 65 guys that could legitimately win this thing. And those two guys are PGA Tour winners that have flashed some good form lately. So I like that. And then a name I have not mentioned, but when you think about no cut event, need to be able to score, take advantage of par fives, bombers are maybe at an advantage. A lot of volatility in this field, in this tournament. Keegan Bradley is 150-1 on points bet. I think he's 100-1 or 125-1 on DraftKings, but on points bet, he is 150-1. And I mean, we saw a couple weeks ago, or was it 2 weeks ago at the Sanderson, maybe?
Yeah.
He played pretty well and almost won the thing. Like, I think he came out pretty hot in round 1, and everybody was like, oh, here comes the full Keegan where he's going to suck it up, but he finished 4th. But when you look at the stats, he is top 30 in this field in strokes gained approach, strokes gained off the tee, greens in regulation, and strokes gained par 5. Top 30 in the field over the last 24 rounds. That's pretty crazy. Now he's going to miss. He's not going to miss the cut because it's a no cut event. He's going to finish DFL or he's going to be like top 10. So I think Keegan's an interesting number at 150-1. Top 10 bet is, I got one, and it's Tom Hoagie, because it's a longer number that I can get for a top 10. You mentioned him as an outright. I think that's a little ambitious for Hoagie, but At a top 10 number, he's 14-1 on DK. So, I don't know. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I think Hoagie's got some upside. He's going to want to play here and show out. So there you go. Let's look at some matchups.
I think there are a lot of good matchups.
Okay, tell me what you're looking at.
Okay, well, I'll start here with I like, I mentioned I like Rory as a DFS play. I like him over Justin Thomas, getting a plus number at plus 105. I think that's a good play. Now, it's close.
I'm surprised JT's that much of a favorite though. Like minus 125.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent sized number. I really love Daniel Berger at plus 100 over Tyrrell Hatton. I think that is a great matchup play. And I'm not going to try to steal them all like you did with all the other DFS picks. But as much as I do like Victor Hovland, you mentioned Harris English as one of your favorite plays this week. And I like Harris English a lot as well. So I didn't mention them, but they're in different ranges. But I actually do like that matchup of Harris English at plus 100 over Victor Hovland. I think that could be a decent number as well. I like both the players, but I think English could end up. Who knows? We'll see. But that's a close. That might be
that might be a stay away bet for me.
Just when I see Harris English at plus 100.
Imagine telling your 2018 self that you would be so tempted by Harris English at a plus number in 2020. That'd be weird.
Anyway, you've got some other ones, I'm sure, but those are the first ones that just kind of jump off at me.
I think the Alex Noren over Matt Kuchar at even money, I think that's pretty easy. Like I love Alex Noren here. Matt Kuchar has not been himself whatsoever. But and Noren's popped, and he's a really good putter. These are going to be, pure bent grass greens here at Shadow Creek. I love that at minus 110 for Alex Noren. I don't know. I mean, I like a couple of the ones you said. I almost think I'd take the favorite Jason Day at minus 120 over Ricky at plus 100. I mean, Day's form has been off for sure, but it doesn't seem like it's been as wildly inconsistent as Ricky's. And he can always both of them can always get pretty hot with the putter. Ricky's minus 7.5 strokes with approach play last week is horrifying. So I think I might take J Day at minus 120. Honestly, I think I would pour all of my matchup bankroll into that Alex Noren over Matt Kuchar number.
Yeah, I think the Paul Casey getting plus money, plus 100 over Matthew Fitzpatrick is also a decent play as well.
Yeah, I don't mind Fitz, but I almost feel like anybody coming over from Wentworth, and Fitzpatrick actually finished. I think he finished 7th at Wentworth last week. Yeah.
But he's a Euro guy that plays extremely well over there and shows flashes here. Paul Casey's way more experienced than he is as far as just at least good finishes on tour type level events. So I just don't know if I would. I think Fitzpatrick's a trap. I used to love him too. Now I piss.
You sure did, boy. All right, well, check out DB's Big Balls betting card. I think up 20 units. I think it's 20 units or 15 units right now on the year. That'll be out on tomorrow afternoon, kind of first look, first thoughts, and then finalized on Wednesday afternoon. You can check that out for free on tourjunkies.com. I'll basically say, look, if you only had $50 to spend on betting on golf, here's where I would spend the $50. And I'll tell you who I like, what bets I like, and how much money to put on it. You can tail it, or you don't have to. So we just hit 150-1 Hudson Swafford though a couple weeks ago. I would tail it. We're gonna hit this. Okay, we're gonna get it going. Pat, should we recap the member guest?
Do we have to? I guess we do.
Yeah,
a lot of interesting stuff happened. So
a lot of interesting stuff happened. We should probably go ahead and we'll go ahead and bury the lead here. We did not win. We did not win the member guest. We did not win our flight.
If we did, that broccoli tree trophy would be sitting right here beside me the entire because if anybody doesn't know Champions Retreat, the broccoli tree on one of the courses is kind of a just whatever you'd say, a staple to the course.
Our signature hole.
Signature hole. We don't have a broccoli tree trophy. It's not.
No, we don't. There were so many things. First of all, again, you got to check out the Instagram reel that we put up at Tour_Junkies of Pat doing the Fleetwood Mac Dreams Challenge. It is blowing up our following on Instagram.
The most successful thing we did all weekend was that.
Yes.
And we nailed it.
We did that on Thursday evening, and you nailed it, and then that was it. Then after that, you nailed nothing. After that, really, you basically nailed nothing. You nailed our hopes of making the shootout. You did that. You nailed a tee marker one time. You let's see. Anyway, so let's see where to begin.
Let's not start by beginning with pinning it all on me, because there were certainly some things that you failed at as well. Like, come on now.
Well, I mean, I didn't.
Let's start with the first hole. We'll start with the very first hole. Okay.
First of all, me and Pat come out every time we do this. Every time.
It's terrible.
We have, I don't think of all the matches, we've now played 15 matches. We've now played 15 because we played in 3-member guests. It's 5 9-hole matches.
Which, by the way, we've won most of them. We won 4 this week, too.
Yeah, we win the match. But I don't believe we have ever come out and won the first hole. We either half the hole or we lose it. We are the worst at that. So the very first hole of the whole tournament, par 5, I hit a bomb with about a 15-yard draw on it that goes over the creek, OB, out of bounds, dead, because the hole goes right, goes left to right, and I hit.
Yeah, you basically hit a pull, like a pull hook.
Yeah. But Pat hits a. Basically he tops his tee shot. He's nervous. He tops it, and I mean he tops it.
Mm-hmm.
Just dribbles it down just past the ladies' tee. Then what'd you do on your second shot?
I topped that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he topped the second shot. That's right.
What did I do in my third shot?
You topped that one.
I topped that one.
The first 3 swings of the whole golf tournament, Pat hasn't gotten the ball cumulatively in 3 shots 6 feet off the ground with a driver 3-wood. Wasn't that it? Driver 3-wood. Yeah. The people we're playing with were like, what are we doing? What is that? So we both proceed to double that hole and lose. We both double the par 5. That was our opening hole. Then DB gets it on the tracks. Pat leaves the station and never returns. The next hole I par. The following hole is the one. This is the third hole. Pat is pissed. Okay, I'm already in full-on counseling mode. I'm already, oh, come on, man, tempo. I'm trying to think of all the things. Counseling Pat. He's pissed and he's all this. I'm already doing all that. Third hole, he tops it worse than he's topped it the whole. Than he will have topped it the whole week. He hits barely.
It was the worst top in my entire life. Really,
the top dimple. The ball goes whoop whoop like 6 feet in front of him. Okay. Then this is the third hole of the whole thing. Then he snake rapes the next shot, just barely gets it out of the rough, into the short grass. No, not even in the short grass.
Yeah.
Our playing competitors are up ahead of us to the right. Okay,
like 150 yards up on like a hill, kind of.
Yeah, up on a hill, and they're looking
for a ball. They were in trouble
in the woods. They were in trouble. They were looking for a ball in the wood. Pat takes a 3-wood. He's so pissed right now. Mighty lash with the 3-wood. This time, he doesn't top it. Nay. He skyrockets it just straight into the air, straight right. And he goes 4, just like at that same volume. No one could hear it outside of me and our caddy. Our shout out Steven, man. Steven Walker, best caddy in the business for us at Champions. I love the guy. TJ fan. He keeps the mood good. He's my man. Love Steven. Me and Steven heard him say 4. Our playing partners did not. The ball goes straight up into the air, lands in our competitor's golf cart on the
golf cart, and
Just
it stays
boom,
there
and stops. It stays, disappears,
right
vanishes.
between the right golf bag and the cooler that fits in the golf cart. Like, it stays right there. So at that point, the question becomes, well, first off, I'm pretty much out of the hole anyway, but like, what's the ruling?
Yeah.
We just said, okay, well, we just drop it right next to the, like, we didn't even,
we're just F it. We're done. Yeah. I made par on that hole, by the way. Made par again. Then on the next hole, the par 5, I'm getting a stroke. Bomb my tee shot, hit my 2-iron to 15 feet.
Yeah, that was a
drop
great
the
hole.
putt for an eagle net albatross.
Yeah.
We've only played 4 holes, what we've told you right here. Now, we're not going to go hole by hole. We've only played 4 holes, and all this has happened. The weirdest start to any tournament. We win the first match. We win the first 3 matches. I chipped in from the bunker in one match on the very first hole.
Shot.
Chipped in for birdie from the bunker. And then in the same match, on the final hole, to win that hole, we'd already won the match, but to win that hole and get an extra point, I'm in the bunker again, green side, and I look at Pat and I go, I got to make this. I don't have a choice because the other guy we're playing with has a shot, or we thought he had a shot, whatever. And I literally rolled it, and it hit the pin and bounced like 4 inches. Bunker game was on point for DB.
Isn't that the same hole that I also almost chipped in?
Yes.
I hit the pin also, I think. I hit the pin also.
It wasn't a chip. You putted it off the green.
Yeah. And hit the pin.
Yes, we hit the pin twice and didn't go in.
Also, I did on that same day in the last match, we had a par 3. Can't remember that. Oh, yeah, this one. So we had the par 3 that, what's the par 3 on the creek side? So DB goes into the water off the tee. I hit a good shot to like 15 feet. I ended up, actually, that I got into the shootout, the par 3 shootout at the end of the day.
On island.
And so I missed that putt for birdie, but whatever. So that was a better shot that I hit. I hit some good shots that day. Let's not forget that I did hit a few good shots out of nowhere.
We were on the 15th hole of day 1. We played 27 holes on day 1. We were on the 15th hole, day 1, and Pat won the hole for us. And he looks at me in the golf cart and goes, "Is that what it feels like to win a point for your team?"
Mm-hmm.
And I go, "Yes. Welcome to the 2020 member guest, Pat.
Welcome to the member guest." Finally, after the 15 holes, I finally made it, and I was there. But one of the weirder days ever in golf for me. Like, when you play in these things, sometimes it just depends. There's a whole lot of things. Like, you kind of can be relaxed, or you can feel a lot of pressure. It's just, there's a whole lot of different things. I felt more pressure going into this year than I ever felt. A lot of that is because DB, like, on a weekly / daily basis, was asking me how my game was and everything like that. So there's a lot of pressure that DB puts on you that's very unnecessary. Like, he could just like leave it alone and be like, whatever, we're going to see what Pat looks like, and he's probably not going to care. I've almost won member guest before, and my partner was the guy that I almost won a member guest with was one of the most laid back guys you will ever see about. Like, he would never ask you what your game was like going into it. And we almost won the whole damn thing because we didn't put any pressure on each other.
Well, that's stupid.
So there's a lot of difference. There's a lot of different. Yeah, it's a difference in philosophy. My thing is not I don't think I ever once.
Pat, asking you about the state of your game, weeks before, had nothing to do with you topping the first 3 damn shots.
No, it does. It actually has a lot to do with it because you put a lot of pressure.
No, it doesn't. There's no way.
Yeah, you think about that when you start a month or 2 beforehand.
You're thinking about me. You're like thinking about
asking
all
the so Pat, did you take a lesson? Did you take a lesson this month?
Yeah,
because how many lessons did you take this month? How many rounds did you play this month?
We played Hilton Head. You couldn't get off your back foot. I knew. I was like, Pat you need to take a lesson or 2. You took one, great. I thought you needed to take another one. just to keep getting some good stuff in there.
Either way, it's just a difference in philosophy. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
I'm not
like you and I have always played. We've prayed. Like if you think about it, we've won 75% of our matches, but we always have like that one sort of blow up match that doesn't go well and kind of kicks us out of it, which is what happened day 2. So let's transition to day 2. So day 1's over. We get to day 2. One thing that did surprise me going into day 2 was that I arrived at the course before David did.
Yeah, that
was very surprising.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was there and you weren't even there yet. The second thing that surprised me was when DB turns to me, like we're in the golf cart or whatever, and he's like, I think I need like a screwdriver or something. I'm like, whoa. Like, I'm feeling a little nervous. I'm like, whoa.
We slept on the lead. We had the lead despite how poor
I went to bed early. You went to bed early. Yeah. Like everything was good. Everything was good going into day 2. You were a little nervous. You said I was too, but I'd already had like probably 2 screwdrivers by that point because I knew like Saturday if I was still going to drink. And we get to the first hole.
The same first hole.
Same hole.
Started day 1. The same first hole, same par 5 that we started with 2. We each got a double bogey. Same day, or the day before, same hole. The one we just told you about, where Pat topped the first 3 tee shots. I snap hooked mine in the water. The day before, we started our first day there. We both double bogeyed. This morning, this is day 2. We have the lead.
Now, at this point, we had switched orders because like it happened just as the day went on the first day. It just turned out where we were having better luck with you teeing off first and me teeing off second, whatever. So you tee off first and do the exact same damn thing.
Just nut one across the creek,
just killed
into the woods. Can't find it.
Well, no, we found it. It was in the creek.
Oh yeah, we found it in the water. Yeah,
you couldn't hit it.
Couldn't play it. Yeah.
But so after you hit, what did I do? I freaking topped it again. But not only did I top it, no, I hit the tee marker in front of us. But here's the thing about this tee marker. It is sitting at an angle where if you just hit it at the perfect angle and it's got the embroidered Champions Retreat thing. So like if you happen to hit it at a good angle, it actually can bounce the ball forward. So that's what it did. It hit it at the perfect angle and then made the ding sound and bounced it like 100 yards further. So then what happens? Actually, at that point, I'm like, okay, I cannot top my second ball in a row and then have to do this whole thing again. And I hit a decent shot out of the rough. I hit a decent shot. Hit the green, and I make par. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You make par after hitting the tee marker 40 yards in front of you with another topped driver, of which you had the tee barely sticking in. I thought that ball was going to fall off the tee because the tee's barely in the ground. Pat's got it teed up so damn high because he's so worried about topping it. I don't even know how you're doing that. I don't know the physics behind how you're doing that.
And so, but then let's go back to you. So David, we found his ball, and it is sticking out of the water a little bit, but it's not like enough. Like there's no reason to hit it. So he takes his drop, and he's got this. What did you have into it?
Like 210.
Like a 4-iron, maybe?
I hit a 4-iron. Mm-hmm.
So he's got a 4-iron. Now, if you look, like picture this hole. So he's got a trees on his left. He's really got a straight line towards the green.
I had to go over the trees, but yeah.
Yeah. And then on the right, there's a creek that runs literally right down the side of the green with rocks and all kinds of crap in the creek.
All the way down the side of the hole.
All the way down the side. It is a very scary shot that he's hitting. Now, if he misses it right, he hits some fairway. If he has a good miss. But if you don't have a good miss, you're in the creek. DB does not have a good miss. He hits it solid.
It flushed.
Very solid. But it wasn't a good miss. It is going into the middle of the creek. But what happens? It hits a rock and goes straight left and lands on, I think was it on the green or just off the green?
It was on the fringe, 20 feet pin high. Well, yeah.
And our partners at that point, we feel like they got to be demoralized
Yeah.
Because I'm already like going to make a par. Because I think I hit my third shot to like 15 feet or so. I had like a not a difficult birdie putt, and then you had your
we both end up making par.
We both
end up making par on that hole. Yeah, and then those guys continue to bludgeon us for the rest of the match. That's how we lost the whole thing, is what it is. Also, day one, forgot to mention that Pat tried to hit a ball out of the water because it was sticking up, and we felt like we could get a club on it and advance it.
I did advance it.
You did advance it. Not out of the
20
water.
feet.
That shot is on our Instagram as well, and water just goes everywhere. It's just an explosion. So, yeah, and then match two, or our final match of the whole tournament that didn't matter at the end of the day, was against a member of the Augusta National. Member of the Augusta National who we played against last year. Very nice man. Played against him, but I tweeted this, that we were standing on the green, and I said, so-and-so, he's from Augusta, and our families, my family knows his family, and so we've known who he is, and we're not friends, but we know each other. I said, is Augusta preparing to Bryson proof the golf course? And he looked at me with like this smirk, like, boy. And he said, no, not at all. Not giving it any thought. And I don't think that what he's doing is going to be very long-lived, in my opinion. And I was like, huh. Okay.
I don't agree with that whatsoever.
I don't either, but I couldn't tell him that. I mean, it's very on brand for Augusta to not care, but I do disagree with that. Yeah. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting tidbit. We had a great time, Pat. We had a good time.
I mean, the member guest was fun. We continue to put ourselves in a good position going into day two, and then the day two doesn't, like, I almost feel like we should. No, I don't want to like be in a bad position after day one, but it's just we got to come up with a better formula.
We've played in it 3 years, and we have slept on the lead in our flight after day one, all 3 years. And the first 2 years went into our final match with the lead and lost. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is, but this year, there were a lot of really bad shots, but we had a good time. We made some memories. It just wasn't our year once again.
Yeah.
Hopefully our livers will make it one more year and we can come back next year.
Good stuff.
I'm trying to think, are there any other really funny thing that happened, or any weird thing? There were so many weird things that happened.
I don't know. I've never hit into a golf cart before. I've just never that, and topping 3 balls in a row. I know.
Is that the first time you ever hit a tee marker? Have you ever hit a tee marker in front of you?
Never hit a tee marker.
So that was the first too.
That was the first.
That's cool. That's pretty cool.
I don't think I've ever not had a par through that many holes to start.
Yeah.
I did on the match against the Augusta National member have one of the crazier par threes I've ever had, when I shanked my first shot off the tee.
Yeah.
Then so I had like 100 yards in.
It was 160-yard par 3.
Yeah.
Pat shanks it in the trees, in the rough. Me and the
gnarly rough, by the way.
Yeah,
rough,
me and the playing partners
was terrible.
Yeah, me and the playing partners are on the green. We're walking to our balls on the green. Pat looks like he's a mile away in the trees. 100-yard shot in on his second shot into 160-yard par 3. And hits it to like 15 feet.
Yeah.
And then makes the putt. I knew I had a feeling you were going to make the putt. It's the last match. We were out of the whole thing. So who cared? Like, no, it didn't matter at that point. I was like, Pat's going to make this. It's so ridiculous, and it's going to go along with the rest of our week. Like, he's going to make this. So Marcus Miklovich wants to know if Pat is considered a quote influencer after the Fleetwood Mac video. I would say he's trending that direction. The Fleetwood Mac video that Pat has done is taking off. It's taken off like a rocket ship. I think, it could surpass Dogface, the guy that did the original Ocean Spray clip.
We had
maybe Wildleaf will buy you a car.
That was so much fun doing that video. Actually, we thought it out pretty well, and we had some. I think it was only take 3. I thought take 1 was good, but then we decided to change it up, and we did. Like there was a take, literally. There was one take where I almost fell off the golf cart because the driver was slinging me all over the place, and I'm like, so like that would have been kind of funny if we got that content. That would have been funny. We really need to do this from now on. My first shot of the member guest on any day needs to be filmed.
Yes.
Like I could stripe it and it's good content. Sure. Or whatever else could happen is good content. It doesn't matter. Like it's a win-win situation with what happens.
I will give you props and I will testify to this that you were hitting it good on the range in the warm-up before. Like both days you were hitting
and in the practice
just
round,
fine on the range and in the practice round. But it was literally the first couple holes, really. You had to shake it out. We need to film that. You're exactly right. I am extremely disappointed in myself day 2 that after what happened day 1. But see, then but then it's like you'll be pissed at me for having the camera on when we're trying to compete in a match and you're already nervous and I already put pressure on you and then I'm going to have a camera on you. But God, if I'd have had a camera on you when you hit that metal tee marker 40 yards in front of you that then catapulted it past the ladies' tees, like I would have loved, like that would be gold right now. Absolute gold.
Oh my God.
I mean, or the one tee shot, the third hole into the first day that you literally hit it 4 feet with a full swing driver. It went 4 feet in the air, 4 feet in front of you. I mean, it looked like a trick shot. It looked like a trick shot. And
our partners are not our partners, but our playing competitors wanted to let me re-tee.
You were so mad at that point. You were already so mad because the first 2 holes had gone so poorly. You were already so mad, but I couldn't help it. I don't know. You did that, and I just busted out laughing on the tee. I could not help it. There was no way. I was just like, "Hey man, no worries. Like put a good swing on the next one." Like there was no way. I could not. Oh man, Mark Melton was there. We saw Mark. A lot of people on Twitter know how. If you've been following us for a little bit, you know about evil Mark Melton, the sandbagger. Mark has fallen off a lot. I think the unwanted fame that has come about with the Tour Junkies putting him on the map as a sandbagging asshole 2 years ago has really caused him to take a turn for the worse. He is he's drinking a lot. He's a physician. He's probably gonna like lose his license for some dumb thing. No, he's probably not gonna do that. But he's in a world. He's spiraling into depression because he's looking himself in the mirror every day and thinking about what a terrible human he is. But we have fun with Mark. He wasn't in our flight, so we didn't have to beat up on him. But we enjoy it when you guys beat up on Mark on Twitter. It's at M. It's a private account because he's scared. It's at M2, the number 2, Melton, Melton, at M2 Melton. So feel free to keep doing it. Like keep letting him have it on Twitter. All right, I think that's about enough of this. Pat, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's get ready for TJ After Dark.
Yeah, TJ After Dark presented by DraftKings. Check it out on their YouTube channel, where we're going to talk about some picks that we disagreed on just now here for our podcast. And we're going to talk a little sports betting stuff over there as well. It's about a 20-minute video on the DraftKings YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're still listening, that's insane. But thank you. May your screens be green for the CJ Cup. We'll be back next week for the Zozo from Sherwood, another brand new golf course that is pure AF in LA. Looking forward to that one. Have a great week. See ya.
Oh!